Hello twin flames, welcome to my channel and welcome to your daily reading. Today we're doing a special edition reading once again. Yesterday I spoke about north node and south node of the moon changing the signs, and guess what, the moon surprises us again, well kinda, with the full moon in Cancer. And this is a very powerful event for many reasons. First, because there are other transits with major planets that are happening at this time, and it's kind of amplifying the power of this moon energy, this full moon. And if you remember, I keep talking about it every time I do readings around full moon energy, is that this is the time when obviously the moon illuminates the earth at its, largest point, the most that it can do. This is a time when we can see, when we get clarity, when we get insights for things, feelings, emotions, patterns that we normally don't recognize, right? So this is like extra illumination, like a spotlight onto those oftentimes impermissible feelings and some kind of shadow that we maybe normally aren't ready to face. So it's important to be open and inviting to that kind of clarity during this time. On top of that, the moon is a general default guardian of the Cancer as a sign, and now it's in full moon in Cancer, so it's again amplified. It's like feminine energy on top of feminine energy. It's like intuitive guidance, but just times 10. It can get very sensitive for people, especially if you already have your moon in a water sign, because it's definitely the element of water is reigning during this time, reigning like REIGN. And speaking of which, if you want to do something a little more physical or even metaphysical, using water and its power is actually going to be really interesting, and I'm sure will bring great results, especially if you want to set specific intentions for what you're working through. What do you want to cleanse? What do you want to heal? What do you want to leave behind? That's what our reading is going to be about today. We're going to be asking those questions within the twin flame journey, right? What are we cleansing away? What are we getting closure on? Then what are we healing? What do we, the important stuff that we need to, where we need to grow and we need to keep expanding. And then the third question is going to be the insight specifically towards union. What do we need to know? What kind of information can we use as a guidance at this time? So do a ritual with the water if you can. Of course, the best way is to work with an actual natural body of water. If you have it nearby, a lake, a river, a sea, an ocean, anything will work. Even if it's a handmade, I almost said. If it's a man-made canal of some sort, doesn't matter. It's always flowing with nature. That's the best way. You can swim, you can almost like bathe in it, sort of like do the cleansing movements that you're clearing things. Definitely set intentions with the energy of the water, with the guides. You can do a ritual where you write something on a piece of paper and you let it flow with the water. If you don't have an actual body of water, rain, of course, and snow count as well, by the way. You can also just flush it in the toilet, right? And it's still gonna be flowing away with the water. So yeah, lots of things to do here. You can work with the bath and the shower, right? Again, similar, like more intentional cleansing rituals, and you can use your imagination on how you can enhance it. Like with what you're using, could be essential oils, just scents, anything and everything. Okay, so we'll get an oracle message with the Moonology deck. Haven't used this one for a while, and I thought that today is a perfect time to do that. And then we'll see what we have with the tarot, specifically for what we're leaving behind, what we're healing and expanding, and then what do we need to know in terms of movement towards union? What is the guidance? And of course, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel if you're new. Welcome to the channel, by the way. We do this pretty much daily. What else? And yeah, there is my show that I'll leave a link to. It was about turning big dreams into an actionable plan. The last episode that came out on Friday. I'm doing this every Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. By the way, if you join live, you can actually use the comments or use the call-in lines to call in and ask your question. So you can just ask it in the comments, whether it's on YouTube, because it's all live stream, or Facebook, or X, or LinkedIn, or any podcast, even platform where you're joining from. Feminines, you have new moon in Capricorn. Your hard work is paying off. We're in Capricorn season. The sun is in Capricorn right now. So the energy is quite strong, I'll be honest with you, right? So this is to acknowledge, Divine Feminines, the hard work that you've done. It might be a good time to just recap, especially if you've done your year-end review, to recap how much you actually accomplished in 2024, you know, and how it inspires you and feeds your next steps, you know, your new dreams, you know, and whatever you're setting yourself up for in 2025. Show some gratitude for having those experiences, and of course celebrate the wins and acknowledge how far you've come. For masculines, we have the North Node. Step out of your comfort zone, which is an interesting card to get since we just had the switch. Actually, as I'm recording this just today, we had the switch of the North Node, South Node as a global collective transit. The North Node moved from Aries to Pisces, which is a huge change. I'm not going to go into it because I did a separate reading about it. But, you know, North Node is generally around our karmic past and, you know, kind of like our goals, our mission and purpose in life. Why are we here? Living this specific lifetime? What kind of lessons we're learning? What kind of healing are we doing? What kind of growth are we doing personally and contributing to the collective growth, right? So something to consider. Obviously, step out of your comfort zone could be tricky because oftentimes, and that's really the whole point. If you want to search for more information about the nodes, that's essentially that tension between the North Node of, you know, something challenging, something uncomfortable, and the South Node, which is the comfort zone. And yes, a lot of people choose to do something in their life which is within their comfort zone, which comes easy, which keeps them, you know, fed and healthy and wealthy and whatever, just comfortable, right? But the trick is to move towards the North Node, which is challenging, but using still and benefiting from the gifts and the, you know, natural energy that you get from the South Node and what is already at your disposal. It's like your give box, your toolbox, you know, that's already there. Okay, the peak of the full moon is going to be happening on January 13th. I think it's around lunchtime, but you can check specific time. And especially, you know, for your time zone, it could be in the evening, right? I'm doing this a day early just so you guys have a little bit of guidance ahead of time, and you can use the time that you have to, not necessarily to prepare, but maybe to bring more awareness to it. Six of Swords, science in this deck. So yeah, Six of Swords is about like finding that explanation, right? Finally understanding why. That's what I'm sensing with this, and that's where full moon could be really potent in like showing you, not even explaining as much, because it's not the air energy, it's the water energy, full moon in Cancer, but it's almost like you're gonna have an intuitive understanding. Eight of Wands, yeah, downloads are coming in. You just need to watch for them, to listen to them. And remember that you can also ask for a sign, and you can ask for a specific sign, especially if you don't have a specific language with your guides. Like, you know, maybe you pick up the signs and like what you read or what you're listening to, right? And just suddenly something pops into your head, is like, this is important. You're like, whoa, this was huge, right? But just as an example, right? So you could have a specific language that works, but you may also ask for some specific sign, like, you know, if it's a yes, then I'm gonna see within the next 5 days. So something like that. So it can be more specific like that. Just remember what you ask for. So feminine, so the first question is, what are we getting closure on? What are we leaving behind? What are we cleansing away? And feminines have Three of Pentacles and the Sun. But you know what? I'm hearing that this is the fixed idea that you're going to be at your fullest fulfillment. You're going to be at your best and at your fullest in your mission and purpose as a light worker when you're with your twin. You know, because we all know the story that we have a mission together with our twin flame. And that means, of course, that, you know, there are certain things that you just can't achieve by yourself. The energy of both of you is needed for that. But that's a myth. And that's something important to cleanse, because it could be an important motivation on the twin flame path. I must admit, I was one of those people at some point. And whenever, you know, when I had a certain DM in my, in my attention, in my life, that I thought, okay, this is probably my twin flame, right? Then I would start like almost like measuring them for where their gifts are, where my gifts are, and what could we be doing together as a mission. It's not really like that. First of all, it's gonna come to you, it's gonna evolve. There's a very good chance that by the time you're actually together and ready to do light work together, you're gonna be different people and you'll want different things even, you know, at least on that, you know, sophisticated, nuanced journey, that you'll be interested in doing a different thing together than what you currently could be doing, right? Our brain always tries to explain, but this is about leaving that behind and understanding you are a powerful master teacher as you are on your own. And there's a good chance, if you want to subscribe to that theory, that, you know, there will be this time when you're going to be with your person and then you'll do what you're supposed to do here on earth. At least think that there's a good chance that just as we are preparing for the union on a personal level in terms of doing shadow work and learning lessons, it could be just as well the same for you as a light worker. That there are certain skills that you need to learn before you get into union, that there's certain experience that you should get as a light worker before you get into union, so that then you can come together at your best. And there's a good chance that you'll be the one, not necessarily showing the way to your masculine, but kind of, you know, holding that light for them. And it's important to be more confident in it. You know, we are the spiritual leaders as feminines in the twin flame connection. So it's important to be very solid so that you can then help guide the person who would be a lot more, most likely lost or confused, or, you know, just having a lot of questions without answers. Masculines, you have the Page of Wands clarified by the Fool. Yeah, so in this deck, the Page of Wands is like this reptilian brain person. So it's somebody who has a lot of ego still in them, who has a lot of pride. And, you know, just kind of like, they're interested in exploring things, but it doesn't really come from a good place. It's more about, I need to prove myself, or, you know, I need to find new ways of how I can be popular or successful or rich or whatever, right? It's kind of artificial to some extent, but it does get you outside of your comfort zone, masculines, and that's important. So the ego will slowly shed away, and maybe there will be some clarity. I like this scenario actually with the Fool, because it's the after tarot, but the Fool is actually hanging off the cliff, but, you know, they can actually, I don't know if you can see that, or maybe it's not really like that. But I feel like the earth is just there, you know, because that's why their axe is there. And it's like, it's easy to let go and just kill land, but the person doesn't know that necessarily. So they're trying to enjoy that moment, right? There's so much power in both of these cards, right? And yeah, I feel like DMs could really use some more of that faith and enjoying exactly where you are, even if it doesn't feel good, it doesn't look good, but you know, treasuring those moments and the journey on its every step. What are we expanding? What is something that's getting healed? And speaking of healing, you get Three of Swords immediately in a healing mode. So we have Six of Wands, which is the victory card on this deck, and Three of Swords, where swords are already out and there's a healing process. So quite literally, feminines are becoming so much more successful in their heart healing. And what I see with this is that you'll actually get the confirmation, you'll be able to see it very clearly of how far you've come in terms of healing your heart, being more open and vulnerable, having more capacity for love towards yourself and towards other people, right? And that's something to celebrate. That's really, really important. That's what the spirit is emphasizing for you right now. That's a victory on its own, in its own right, right? Even before you think that, you know, I need to, again, like achieve certain things, or I need to be with my person and that will be a victory. No, this is a victory in itself. All the healing that you've done and how much more available you become through your heart space, and how much more information you receive through your heart space rather than just thinking it over. For masculines, we see Wheel of Fortune clarified by Ace of Cups. So masculines quite literally become luckier. They see that, you know, it's also about trust. Like the topic continues after what we just saw with the Fool. But it's more like, you know, I trust that there is true love in the world. I trust that there is unconditional love, and masculines are able to actually feel it and trust it, you know? And it doesn't always have to be just with one person, right? And the more, again, the more connected masculines are to their heart, the more it then shows up, you know, within their own right and within their life, the more it shows up for them in the outside world. And the more lucky they feel. It's interesting, right? It has like this snowball effect, both whether you're feeling unlucky and that nobody loves you and, you know, the universe is punishing you, that will be a snowball effect for you in life. And on the other hand, if you see lots of love and opportunity, and you see that the universe is being not just merciful, but actually loving to you, then that will be a snowball effect, and there will be more and more of that blessing coming in. Beautiful. So what do the feminists need to know as for movement towards union and path towards union? We see Five of Swords again. I definitely remember last time I used this deck, there was a Five of Swords there, and it's still here, but it has 10 of Pentacles on the back. Five of Swords is not the card we like to see. In this specific deck, it's about inner child work. It's about healing childhood trauma, and I would say a lot of it has to do with either specifically finances and resources, or it has to do with familial relations, and not just like parent and child, this is more direct, right, but other relatives, right? Like, what are my responsibilities towards family members? What do I expect from them? Those kind of things, you know, like how do you show up for each other within the family, right? What's the storyline in your family of what it means to be an uncle, a niece, a grandpa, I don't know, a nephew, somebody else, right? There's some healing that either is already happening or will be happening around those storylines, and that's a really important piece of the puzzle. And as we move towards union, for masculines, we see the Temperance clarified by Eight of Swords, and this is the Eight of Swords where the person gets freed up. Yeah, so, you know, the Temperance also has like the twins here, by the way, in this specific deck. So for the masculines, they are really seeing how much they've been the light and the shadow within themselves. Like they're seeing this almost like twins within themselves, right? It's like recognizing that you actually have both the shadow and the light. You have both the masculine and the feminine, right? And there are all these different dynamics where you are looking towards other people to play them out in relationships, right? But it all starts with you, divine masculine, right? With how do you tame your demons in your head, or how you reconcile the guilt and shame and the love and appreciation and blessings, right? So a lot of that self-talk kind of work on like, what is the story you're telling yourself even about yourself? How do you see yourself and what can you improve? Temperance is also about being patient with yourself and with others, right? Maybe with your twin if you have some negative storylines around them. but that will come a long way when, you know, moving towards building that harmonious relationship with your divine counterpart. Okay, I'm gonna leave it here. I hope this was useful for you guys. If so, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to my channel, leave a comment, share it with others, and until next time.